Number 4 here is going to be Divi, right? And also I'm going to show you how to make use of it, right? But for Divi is a paid tool right out of the box, and you can test it. I'm going to show you how to test it. They have a free live demo. So Divi is one of the things I've used back then. When I started WordPress, I was able to get my hands on Divi. I think they used to offer a free plan. I can't remember. My memory is not serving me right, but I know I used them one way or the other. Maybe the clients paid. I can't remember, to be of truth. But they were the first set of themes I tried, or elegant theme and then page builders I first used before I started dabbling for Elementor came up, and I started using Elementor before moving to the rest. So now this is Divi, and we're going to be showing you what Divi looks like. So I'm going to click on the live demo. So when you click on the live demo, but this is not how to install Divi. If you want to install Divi, you would have to get their license, and after getting their license, you would have to put in the key and get access to it. But if you want to test Divi like right out of the box, this is one way you can go about it. So I love that. That's brought memories. So now take for example, this is a landing page. You know how, if you guys are familiar with Elementor, right, you can edit the theme, the page, or whatever you are building from the page itself. So now this is how Divi looks like. It has different sections, and when you tap on each section, you can choose to add and you can choose to check the settings. Take for example, now I want to check the settings of this section. I can see the contents, the links, the layouts. I can turn off things, and yeah, they have good settings and every other thing, transparency, visibility, and it's good to check all these things, right? And one way for you to do that is I use Zip. I'm going to show you guys in the video where I use that particular platform to test out themes, plugins, and the rest before I move it to a live website, because you need to know what you are going for. So yes, each and every one of these page builder would give you some learning curves, right? So take for example, let's build a new section to see how it looks like. So if I also build a new section, let's say at the top of this place here. So I'm going to click on add a new this thing. So it's going to ask me regular and whatnot. So I'm going to click on this. So it's going to ask me what formats. We all know the layout and everything. So let's just choose 2 layers. So when you click on this, you can see what they have, and this is a very good way to know what type of page builder is good, because you need to know what it gives you, right? So there are some things a client asks you to do, and you didn't have to take a third-party plugin, and start making your site heavy. So you need to know whether your page builder covers so many things. So you could see what they have. They have countdown, they have email, they have header, they have code, images, maps, and you can come here and play around. So take for example, now we just choose a simple accordion. Accordion is like, what do they call it? It's like a drop down stuff, right? So where you like, they mostly use in FAQs. So this is your accordion settings. So this is where you do the design. Majority of page builders have where the content is, your design, and advanced. Almost all of them have this format. I think once you can understand one format, like for the likes of, I've been calling them right since morning, you can get to understand the way the rest work. It's kind of almost the same. So we have icons. That's the trigger icons that are going to be here. You can edit them, you can change them. You could see that they are all changing here. You can see the link, you can see the admin label, and go to design where you can change the icon, toggle text. You can come here, play around, and see what this offers. At the end of the day, you can click here to click on it, and you can always come back to edit it, right, by clicking on settings. So you can edit the column itself, or you can come down to the layer itself to edit it. So if you want to edit the whole thing, so it's just a full page builder. You can test it on your own free time, play around, and see if it works for you. So let's get back to our criteria. Clients in mind, would I recommend this? Well, if you're starting and I have my favorites. You can give this to a client, you can test it, but they have the ability to pay because I think they have a paid plan, right? So you can check out the paid plan. Then, yes, they don't have much headaches like that, but you have to learn how to use it, especially if you are, first timer in it and you have to, teach your client how to make use of it. Then the setup, not quite hard because we are using a tester. It's almost the same way of installing the rest, the theme, putting and downloading the plugin itself, uploading it, and the rest. So yeah, I didn't pay for this, so that's why I can show you that. So pricing, I think they have a kind of a good model pricing. Let's check. Okay, see your pricing here. Okay, so they have a yearly deal of these. So you check what they have every time. You need to come down to check what these guys have, so you can, what see what you are up for. Then you have a one-time plus lifetime deal. Most of these platforms give this, so you can actually check this and see if whichever one favors you, right? So yeah, this is their pricing. Then the features, you check the feature, page building. It's actually a good page builder tool. I've used it for a very long time, but I am not currently. But yeah, you can make use of it. That's why I could put it on my fourth most used page builder. The templates, yes, they have their own in-house template that you can make use, and they have good integrations. So you can actually check their pricing to know what kind of integrations they are for. So you can see for agency, freelance, business, you can come here. This video may not do so much, but you can come here to calm down and look into what they have and if they offer what you want for the client or for yourself, right? And yes, this supports their elegant theme. So I think preferably when it comes to theme, I think when you work with page builder, just go ahead with a theme that they are default to. So avoid headaches. That is what me I would just say. Right? And the pros and cons. Well, I would say this is an old one, right? This is one I've used in the past. They're not as popular as they used to be, right? But they are still functional, so it's a win, right? So the next one that we are going to be talking about is going to be Spectra. So in installing Spectra, I'm going to install Spectra in a what do they call it? Zip WP. So because this is one way to have a WordPress website for testing. So I'm going to use so Spectra has its own website. I think it's under Astra, right? So you can check their format and the rest. Though I'm going to pull it up for you right here. Okay, so this is Spectra, and Spectra most of the times is paired with Astra, but Spectra is, paired under Gutenberg. So Gutenberg, we all know WordPress have a default page builder, which is Gutenberg, but sometimes Gutenberg has lesser functionalities and sometimes crazy to edit. So now, plugins or what I'll call page builders like Spectra come in to make sure your site looks very nice and gives you more functionality to your site, right? So I would suggest Spectra if you are trying to dabble into the whole Gutenberg thing. And this is my number three option, right? Because they are very, very good. So without many talk, how do we install Spectra? So this is an example site like I mentioned earlier. If you come down to your plugins, so we're going to look for Spectra. So and we're going to be installing it on Astra because they are very, very compatible with each other. So we're going to go to plugin. Then I'm going to look for Spectra. So as you can see, it has over 1 million active installs. That's to tell you that people make use of it. So we are going to install it. And like I said, it's powered by Gutenberg Page Builder. So when you install Spectra, you can come down here to see all the features that it gives you right out of the box, and you can see everything here. But if you want to make use of it, we are going to create a new page by going to pages, then add new page. So now this is Elemental Gutenberg by default. So when you install Astra and even Spectra, it gives you this fine cute menu by the left hand side. So one of the things to know if you have Astra in is to click on the block button, and this is how to know what Astra gives you. You can play around, drag them, and see what they do, how they function, from container to heading to image to call to action, icon, countdown, block codes. You can keep going down and you can see what they do. I think then the rest below here are for Elemental Gutenberg default. So if you don't want to stress yourself and start testing from scratch, I think we have templates, right? So you can actually spin up some templates to see if they are okay. This template is from that template is from, what do they call this platform? The Astra. So if you want to make use of starter templates, you can click on the starter template library. You can click on pages and import any one that you want at your free will. I think there is a partnership between them and starter templates with Astra, right? But if I'm wrong, you guys can let me know in the comments below. So all you can do if you want to build any page is, for example, I want to build an info box. I can click on this to put it there and you can see an info box. Or if I like, okay, I don't want to click on info box, I want to start from scratch, like people build websites from scratch. We start with a container, and you can put this somewhere here and you can see the different sizes of the containers, from 2 columns, 3 columns, 4 columns. Say for example, now I'm choosing a 2 column. So if I click on, sorry, if I click on this and click on the particular box that it is, so like I showed you in I think the first one we worked on, which was DV, you could see that there's general, there is style, there's advanced. Almost all of them have the same settings, right? It's just for you to understand how they work and how to make use of them. So the first thing, you check what it is. You can check their style, their settings, and you can add different things to it. So take for example, now you want to add a heading, and you can see the difference between their headings and what they call it, Gutenberg itself. So there's difference in terms of color. You can see that there's a difference here. So this gives you more styling function and more option, because they have tons of settings to play around with. So at your own free time, you can play around with this. And but if you come home, let's say we don't need to save, that was some disastrous editing, right? So if you come down to the Spectra itself, so you can see what they have in free, what they have in pro. To me, this is, I love Gutenberg. Of recent, I started using the Gutenberg builders, right? Like Astra and yes, Spectra, as you can see, because it's kind of lightweight and it's fast, but sometimes it has its own learning curve and may not be easy for most persons. So you can see what they have with free, what they have with pro, and you know what you are signing up for, right? So if you go to their dashboard too, I think this is settings. Yes. So if you go to settings, you can see different kind of settings that you can make use of, the container width settings and every other thing settings, just in case you are trying to position it or merge it with the theme that you're making use of. So you have your asset control, visibility. So you have a coming soon maintenance system, which is always very good for most platforms. So you have this coming soon, you can click on it and select the page you want. So if you build if you built a page, that page you can use it as your coming soon page. So there's a lot, and if you, I would recommend this. If you ask me, headache, it's costing not less headache, it's just the problem is you would have to have a learning curve, and probably maybe if you want to get some things, it might be paid, right? And what's best for it, if you're building, let's say, a site that doesn't have so much, take for example an agency website, a simple website that isn't so much of an headache, right? You can actually use Spectra for it. So you can check their pricing plan. There's Spectra Pro, there's Extension Toolkits, you can see that Astra is coming in, right? Because I believe there's a partnership with them. I don't know if Astra bought it, but that is something I would have to check, or you guys can, do the Googling, right? So yeah, and actually they have been kind of partnering with these guys that I'm using for the stuff. So there's a lot of partnering going around. Yeah. So Astra is my number three page builder that you have to use, and this checked all the boxes. Is good. It has template, but on Astra it has integrations. You have integrations you can make use with it, and you can also go to the platform and really calm down, look through it, and see if this is going to be good for you at the end of the day. So you can go through their site and check other things, test it, play around with it. The best way to know if something is good for you is playing around with it. You may hear me talk about it, hear other persons talk about it, but if you don't use it, you don't know how it feels. And if you don't use it on a particular, let's say, pet project, or use it to build an existing website you've already built and see how it turns out. That is one of the best way to test these guys, right? So we're going to be going to my second best page builder plugin. So my second best page builder plugin is Cadence Block Builder. Yes, so Cadence team has their block builder, and they are seriously coming fast after Astra. Yeah, I think Astra is number one in terms of theme and the rest, but in terms of theme, Cadence is kind of number two in a way of recent. So, but their page builder is also built under Gutenberg, and I've used them to, even my site currently is built on the Cadence block, right? And let's show you how to install it. Currently, this site is installed using the Cadence theme, and it's supported with Cadence. That's the best way to use it, right? So now we're going to install it. So we're going to go to our plugins. So I'm going to search Cadence. So Cadence Block Builder. So I'm going to install it. So you can see that it has up to 500 plus active install. It is coming up as almost 500,000, right? And I'm going to install it. And if you want to know if this platform is very, very functional, of recent in Upwork, most persons are now converting some of their elemental sites to Cadence, and some from other platforms to Cadence. So there's something Cadence is doing that is good, right? So once you've installed it, let's take building a new page and seeing how it looks like. It almost have similarity with Spectra, right? Because since they are built under or built with Gutenberg, so it's kind of almost the same thing. So we're welcome with this. So how do you access it? So the first thing is you are going to click on plus, and when you click on the plus, anything on that Cadence block, you can see it, and you can see the difference between Cadence block and Cadence Block Pro. Yes, they have their Pro and Cadence. Sometimes I tend to build full-fledged websites without thinking of going to the Pro, except I'm lacking some certain feature. That's one good thing with a good page builder. You tend to build almost everything without looking out for extra Pro features. But when you're building things, especially e-commerce, and one thing I love about the Cadence suits, they are very strong on e-commerce, and you can use them to build lots of other stuff apart from e-commerce actually. So if going back to Cadence, so if you don't want to access this from here, that's the Cadence block builder, you can access it from here. So if you click on plus, you can get to see, you can search, for example, now heading, and you can see anything that has to do with any bright colored stuff that is more from the Cadence block builder. So if you check it, you can see everything about Cadence, and you can see what and what they offer for you for the free one, and this does a lot, right? Sometimes. So if you click on here to click on the role, you can get to see different roles and sections, so you get to build whatever you want to build. So say for example, I select this, as like I said earlier, you could see there's three: layout, style, advanced. So you can choose which one that you want to make use of. So if you want to choose layout, you want to choose style, you want to choose advanced, which one you want to choose, you can select it here. So, and you can add things. Take for example, now I want to add let's say image. You can see advanced image. The rest are Gutenberg. I can choose to add an image from my image library, or let's say let me add this picture. I can add text, so I can also drag and drop. It's also a drag and drop builder. Yeah, so you can do this. Then you can also, there are so many settings here. I don't want to start doing full tutorial on cadence, right? So the good thing about this is you can also use the cadence library. So if you have pages, you can go to the about section home page. You can see lots of home page. So if it does not load quickly, you can always refresh it, but because of time I don't want to waste so much time here. Okay, yes, so you can see so much pages. Yeah, template may not be a good one, all right, may not be fun. So yeah, you can use it if you want, but building your own site from scratch is always very good. So yeah, this is majorly cadence and cadence block builder. So if you want to check their pricing, because pricing is one thing again. So cadence have, like I said, suits. So if you know that, okay, you want only just the let's say the essential or express, right, you can go for this here. I was using this for a very long time. I didn't have issues with it, but I kind of stopped, right, of recent. No, it was actually this. Yes, I was using this because I had so many other websites I was using it on, and you get the whole logic. But I kind of stopped it because I needed clients to pay for their own sites and their own many headaches with pricing. Right, so you can come down here and look at what they have. If they have the pro, you can do this. If you are starting out, not so much, but you need the main things. But sometimes there are some important things I see here that I need that are not, so I prefer to even go for this rather than this, right? So if you're not going for anything e-commerce, so you are building a very nice professional website, this is a good thing to go with. But if you're saying you are going for the e-commerce, whatnot, everything, this plan yearly is a good one. And the good thing is once you get it, you can get it for almost any site. So most sites will be relying on this, and you can look for a way to get this money from your clients so that they can be paying this yearly as they are paying their own yearly domain fee. It is very important. If not, you will shoot yourself in the leg. I learned this the hard way. Okay, so this is about cadence. So clients in mind, yes, I use it a lot and I've used it for so many clients and there's no complaint. And sometimes it's easy to use. Like it's one of the simplest for clients to make use of. Avoid headaches. They don't give me headache. Set up easy pricing. That is where the little thing is. It's pricey, but their free stuff is good. Features. They have lots of features. Page building, template integrations, and whatnot. So I would recommend this for you. That's Cadence Block Builder. It does a lot. So now, the next thing that we are going to talk about, which is the number one, is going to be Elemental. I know you guys may have seen that coming. Elemental is kind of my number one. Before, I won't lie to you. If you asked me 3 months ago, I'll tell you Cadence. But of recent, I've started using Elemental, and I'm kind of liking it. So to have Elemental, you first of all have to go to your plugins, right? And you have to add Elemental. I already have it here, but you can see it in popular, right? So you can see it here in popular and install it. And once you install it, you're good to go, except you want to do some settings. Like one of the key settings I do is sometimes Elementor doesn't have a theme, right? But they have their own page builder settings, in-depth page builder settings, where you set the font and some other things. But I like some control I have on my theme. That is why I make use of it. So I still use Cadence theme, especially most of the times for e-commerce, right? So the first thing that I do is after installing it, Elementor, where are you? So this is Elementor. So Elementor has lots of settings and you can play around with the settings from yeah, so they have so many things you can play around, and they don't hide their pro things. You can see what they have in free, what they have in pro, and if you want to get their pro, you can click on upgrade now to take you to their pro website. Let that load, And let's go to a particular page to see what Elementor can give us. So let's say we have this particular website was installed using Elementor as a page builder. So let's get to the home page. Let's click on edit. So like when you're creating a new page, this is the first thing you get to see. So say we are creating, let's create a new page from scratch. So that will give us a good example of how it feels. So if we click on new page, right? And I call this test one. So if I call this test one, I'll click on edit with Elementor. So I will not edit with the default page Gutenberg page builder. It's going to take me to Elementor. So when it takes me to Elementor, you get to see what it has and everything. So this is Elementor and almost all these platforms. Yes, I've not mentioned AI. Why I didn't bother or stress about it is when it comes to WordPress and AIs, they are still learning, right? They are still try. So most of the times I don't even stress it, but you can play around. Like I said, you can always play around it. So this is Elementor. You can actually, and one thing with Elementor I love is the smoothness. I can move from one page to another without stress, and especially if you are importing from Figma, right? Elementor has this smooth thing whereby it was like Figma was built for Elementor. I don't know. I don't know if I'm the only one that have that feelings, but if you have that feelings, you can also leave it in the comments, right? I feel Elementor just have that, Figma vibe, and it makes it very easy to build, drag and drops and the rest. But it has its learning curves. Not going to lie, Elementor has a lot to learn. Majority of them, right? So as you can see, another thing that I don't like about Elementor is there's a lot of good things that are hidden behind paywall, right? So I can't use some certain things like carousels, like slides. Yeah, others you can too, right? But there are ways you go around them. But Elementor is just like that. So there are lots. Once you pay for Elementor Pro, you've saved yourself a lot of headache, right? But if you've not paid for their Pro, you'd have to install other themes to bypass some certain things, and it's an headache on its own. So just if you are building for a client, just pay for the Pro and go to sleep. I'll show you what the Pro, so you can see what the Pro has, and you can play around to check what all this is and what they do, how they function, and you get the whole thing. So for example, now there's what we call containers and grid. So that would be a video for another day. But majority of the times I use containers more than grid. So if you put a container here, you can say, okay, this container, do I want it to? So if you click here, I can put this. I can now say, okay, inside this container, I can have another container inside. So if you click on here, if I duplicate this, you can see that the containers are going this way. But if I click on this and click on this, you see that the containers are now going like a roll, like this. So you can actually do this, and you can click on, let's say I'm adding a header, I'm adding a body, then I'm adding, let's say, an image to spice things up. So this can be my own settings. Then yes, you can now put your padding. Let's say my top padding would be 80, my bottom padding would be 80. I'm already starting to feel the vibes of editing. So Elementor is sweet for editing, and you can enjoy that if you know what you're doing. But if you are a beginner, you might hate it for a little bit because it is kind of tricky, even with me. And if it's something you leave, let's say for 2 3 months and come back to it, trust me, a lot of things will change. And if you look foreign, you have to remaster it again, right? But if you use it frequently, let's say every few weeks, every few months, 1 month, 2 months, or yeah, you get used to it, and it will be like you're, singing song like a melody and the rest. So I recommend Elementor anytime, any day. So Cadence and Elementor are two page builders I shift. Sometimes I get confused which should I use, right? I'm still on that. But how I do it, like when it comes to e-commerce, I focus e-commerce mainly on Cadence. But if I want to buy all this tech product, business thingy, and the person is ready to pay for Elementor Pro, I go with Elemental, right? So that is how I sometimes, separate them. But both are good, and you can, interchange them with clients so that your hands don't, you don't forget one at a time. So, and you can check their website to check their pricing bundle. I don't know why this essential is not just it. If you can just either go for the advanced or go for this is one of the best. You go for any of these two, right? This is just the best for three sites or for one site. That if the person you're bidding for one person, and this price is kind of confusing. Don't just believe in this. Click on buy, and when you click on buy, you have to check what it costs you monthly, and you have to check what it costs you um yearly to purchase it. So that place is confusing. But if you want to get the real price, you get to see what you are doing here. So it asks you for login, select plan, and the rest. So Elementor is good, and you check to see what pricing models it has. I think they have this thing where it doesn't go back. That is a weird thing. That has a weird thing. Let me just go back to Elementor. So let's go back to pricing. So, websites have this dark UX where you go to a particular page and you really can't really go back to the whole thing that you were doing. So, yeah. So you can go to Elementor, check their features, check what they do, goof around, test, like I always say, test, try to build with use. You can, this gives you 24 hours of testing, right? And you can keep testing to see what. And if you want to check their pricing, it's kind of confusing at times because they have several things. So this is their page builder plugin, right? This is if you want to host with them, you can host with them directly, because people were complaining Elementor is too bloated. So they found this kind of like, okay, we'll give you a fast site. So the one thing with a slow site is just register your site with a good hosting provider. That solves half of your problem, right? Or you can host with them. That's if you really trust the whole Elementor ecosystem, you can go with them. So now, in summary, Astra is my fourth. Spectra is my third. We now have Cadence, and we have the last one, which is Elementor. These are the four page builders I would recommend to you in 2025. Yes, there are page builders like Beaver Builder, WP Bakery. Those ones are kind of paid up front. I think Beaver Builder is not paid up front. Then there is Brixie. You can try all those guys, test them. But my recommendation: do not have headache, pricing, features, and everything integration. These guys are the go-to. So if you have any question, leave it in the comment. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it to your friends, family, and people that would want to know about this. And if you have any recommendation in terms of topic for us, you can also leave it in the comment below. And bye for now. See you in the next video.